We are a group of third-year veterinary science students from Onderstepoort. Our group arrived at Vhangani Primary School in Mamelodi to address their grade 7 learners. We were set to begin at 1 p.m. and were allocated more or less an hour to relay as much knowledge as possible onto the students. Each of us had our own sections to tackle and made sure that the students not only were kept interested in what we had to say, but that they were encouraged to be involved as much as possible in the day's activities. Marinette and Johan covered basic topics such as the correct handling and restraint methods the students should use on their pets. This included the different types of collars and leads that could be used. The children showed great interest in what Johan and Marinette had to say. Priya and Mohammed then went on to discuss discipline and general health and well-being of the animals. This discussion included details on how not to use physical method of discipline, but rather to reward good behavior. Clinical science and how to tell when your dog is sick and should be sent to the vet will then demonstrate the students seem to understand these concepts fully. Annalie emphasized on animal health by further elaborating on what foods are good to feed your dog and which aren't. She promoted participation, and the children were encouraged to come up and show us what foods they thought were good or bad. This was useful as it gave us a better understanding and idea of the children's knowledge and level of understanding. Lastly, Sinead opened up the all-important topic of rabies. The rabies booklets, which were kindly donated by our sponsors, were handed out to every student. Marinette went through the booklet with the children, page for page. Rabies was our main focus of the afternoon, and we encouraged the children to take their booklets home and further educate their family and friends. After all important points of this dreadful virus were discussed, each student was then given a pencil and questionnaire to fill out. Taking a look at our data analysis, our results were not as we had expected. We undermined the knowledge of the students greatly and were pleasantly surprised with their answers. The children were excited and enthusiastic about their rabies booklets. We managed to cover important topics such as what to do when faced with an aggressive dog and who to go to, the typical signs of rabies, as well as what to do in the case of being bitten by a dog. One of our greatest concerns were developing questionnaires that were simple and easy for the children to read and understand. Thankfully, the questionnaire was a success, and our message for the day was heard by the majority of the students.
Where we're off to, we're invisible alive, we're the whispers in the scream, we're not living in the West.
When focusing on the important questions like how to handle an aggressive dog with or without suspected rabies, 64% of the students understood the concept of not reacting and rather behaving like a tree instead of trying to take any further action towards the animal. With regard to messages that weren't conveyed as clearly as we had hoped, unfortunately, only just more than half of the class believed that people needed rabies vaccinations too. We were hoping that this percentage would be closer to 100, and so, as a group, we realized that this was clearly one of the areas where we could have improved. As a fun activity towards the end of our session, and to ensure the students weren't getting bored, we again encouraged class participation that was constructive and fun. Marinette and Mohammed demonstrated how to make your own handmade dog toy. The students were excited and enthusiastic, and we hoped the activity, along with taking the dog toy home with them, would help solidify their ideas of the afternoon's talk with them. Initially, we were allocated another school completely to engage with, but due to circumstances that were out of our control, those plans fell through, and we then piggybacked Group 11 and the school they were allocated. A lot of our planning then involved coordinating with Group 11, ensuring that we did not overlap with anything they did, to ensure the children weren't hearing the same message twice, but were rather getting more useful information out of the situation. One of our greatest challenges was getting in touch with the principal, but once we had done our pre-visits, things seemed to move smoothly. During our pre-visit, we mostly took note of the facilities, which we had at our disposal, which wasn't much more than the school hall and some chairs. We knew from then on that we had to make our talk as captivating and interesting as possible. We as a group then decided that the best way to do this was to get the students as involved as possible. A suggestion for improvement with future encounters in this community would be to involve the medical students from Princehof campus, who could then further elaborate on the human health aspect of rabies in a way that the children can then understand the importance of getting their vaccinations along with their animals. We would like to say a special thank you once again to the staff and children at Vhangani Primary School, as well as to our generous sponsors, the Glen Shopping Centre, Netcare, the Global Alliance for Rabies Control, and the World Health Organization.